Yo, it's the first day of the week, Monday. Um, just want to go over the trades that I took today, my thought process, and yeah. Let's just start off at the daily chart, the higher time frame. Um, Downtrend. Uh, Not necessarily a capitulatory move. Where's the Bollinger Bands? Yeah, so outside the Bollinger Bands, for a few days, bounce back strongly to the 20. Um, so uh, let's see, what about the 9? Yeah, above the 9. Um, so Sunday opened with a large gap up, and so I was expecting I like one of two things. So it was really 50-50. I was expecting either it goes up or it goes down. But seriously, I was either expecting like a gap up and continuation higher, breaking these previous week highs, or a fade the gap. Um, Honestly, I wanted the continuation higher more because I just saw that as manipulation. Let's say like on the weekly chart, I saw it as like an upper wick for a power of three move lower. Um, because like once it, broke the lower band of the Bollinger Band and it bounced back up to the 21 SMA, it doesn't really have any more reason to go higher. So any moves higher would be an attractive risk reward short, in my opinion. And so that's why I was kind of leaning more towards um, a continuation higher. And also because I think a lot of people would like that. But honestly, looking back at it, well, this is obviously hindsight, but I think a lot of people are in pain right now. And so any move up would be so celebrated. And so I think the market is really keeping people in pain by not even breaking these swing highs and just fading it. Well, that's just for right now. Who knows what will happen at the end of the day or tomorrow. But yeah. Um yeah. So either fade the gap or a move higher. But either way, it was still an overall bearish bias, regardless of the move that we got. Um, yeah. Uh, Anime, the same. It's well, yeah. So the 9 um, held above it for several days, but ultimately, I'm still expecting it to fail below the 9 and have a continuation lower. But that is going to be a lot more pain. Um, yeah. So 4 hour chart. Well, it looks a lot more clearer right now, but this was how it looked when I got in. Didn't know which way it wanted to go because it opened with a gap fade already. So it was honestly 50-50. Um, yeah. Hourly chart. Yeah, hourly chart, well, it looks clear now, but before it was like this. And so not really much of a setup. Yeah. Um, well, one thing that I am looking at back now in hindsight was that, Thursday and Friday was just a triangle squeeze, range compression basically. So range compression, waiting for range expansion, and usually before that there is a fake out move. So maybe I could have considered like this up move to be fake, and then for a continuation lower, in the coming days. But yeah, no, honestly, now that I look back at it, I kind of like this idea of this range compression, failed breakout, move lower. Yeah. Um, all right, so let's get deeper into the day. Yeah, so coming into the day, there's a few higher time frame levels that I marked out. Just this swing high, PDH, because I mean I'm not looking at PDL as of right now. I'm not looking at PDL. I'm just looking at PDH, um, previous swing high, external BSL, and then internal BSL, which was the gap, right? Um, so on the 15-minute chart, if you look at London and Asia session, it was honestly inside this entire um, gap fade range. So there was honestly very muted activity. Well, if you look at it nominally, um, this range was huge. Usually, a 200, 300 point range, that's like a full ATR. Um, so yeah, usually it would be huge, but as of right now, like volatility expanded, ATRs have gotten much more wider. And yeah, this relatively looks small, but nominally not that small. Coming into the day, um, where was it? Open. So yeah, at open, I was expecting, price to continue higher, based on the preceding trend. Um, but I was still looking for a fade, right? Um, let's go to the 1 minute chart actually. The first 5 minutes of the day, it just completely started fading. And so I saw this move, and what I was waiting for was just a pullback. Like, all right, when am I gonna get the pullback for potentially an entry? Well, also you have to consider that um, this today was a no news Monday, and it's also a shortened trading week. So I'm not really expecting any major volatility. My thought process is that these market makers, they've sold premium for insane prices last week because the VIX was honestly like at insane levels, right? So they have a very high incentive to just take this entire shortened trading week and just grind people out. Take that, capture that data, that vol. Um, that Vega actually. Yeah. That's my thought process. So I'm really looking for muted moves. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, let's just see. Right. So there wasn't really any pullback or any opportunities to entry, like maybe like on the 1,000 tick chart. I was looking at this too, but yeah, no, not really any like, opportunities to entry, at least clean opportunities that I would consider to be a good setup. Um, Yeah, so once price displaced completely lower, at this was around 840. Like now, as I saw this 15-minute breaker block, I was like, all right. So, whenever price just has a move like this and it doesn't want to give me like an entry here, that's fine because I'm honestly expecting this move to retrace higher, later on. Yeah, and also because like if you look on the hourly chart at this point, well, I didn't see this chart, right? But at this point, this is what it looked like. And if it were to continue lower even more, that I think that'd be too committal at this point, because well, there's no macros, there's no news. I think that'd be too committal. So that's why I was I was really expecting a pullback higher. Yeah, so at this point right here, yeah, I really was expecting price to like not really continue. I wanted to see price kind of like grind higher up towards this breaker block, or at least into like a premium of this range. Yeah, so at least a premium. Yeah, so price eventually didn't like grind it up. And then at the 2nd a.m. macro, that's when it started to really displace lower. Yeah. So the thing about this, um, well, I had two biases, right? I had a longer term bearish bias where I thought price was going to displace lower, but I had like a short term bullish bias where I I thought that, any shorts that were trying to short too early were gonna get punished and we're gonna get, you know, faked out. Um, because yeah, yes, this trade, it seems pretty obvious, like, it swept out the internal BSL, displaced lower, left the breaker block. It looks like a clean short, but the thing is you can't really get in too early on these shorts because it's so obvious the market is really gonna stop you out before you even get a chance to capture the true move. And that is really, really tilting. So you really can't expect that. So honestly, I think there's some EV in actually like shorting or fading good short opportunities. So going long on like good shorts. Um, and yeah, so at this point right here, there's there's like a major problem with trying to do this when my short-term and long-term biases are clashing is that I'm really prone to flip-flopping and my conviction isn't really high. Because let's say well right as of this point I'm expecting um a move lower. However, I know that it could continue to go higher before it moves lower. So trying to like, I would call it micromanaging, and like trying to play everything perfectly where, okay, I'm gonna long this and then I'm gonna short this on the way down. Like, I feel like that's like trying to do too much. Honestly, what I should have done was just wait for the good short and try to take a short. There is money to be made in these up moves, um, but that requires good execution. And today I did not have good execution at all. And that's what we're going to see when I go deeper into the trades. Um, but yeah, obviously, once it tapped it once, moved lower. And so this short, I would say like, I would say it's pretty reasonable. Like I took this short here. Lower. And I don't. I mean, I would take this short again. You know, obviously it didn't break any swing lows, and it does look like it can continue higher. But in my perspective, like okay, price went back into the 50-minute breaker block in a premium, and then made a move lower, went back into this BPR, and then continue lower. I thought this was a good short, and I don't really have a problem with taking this short. Um, but if I'm honest with myself, like if I just see this right here, I just think that it's not ready. I think that there's more to go before it really rotates lower. That's if I'm being honest with myself. Um, but on paper, it does look like a good trade, but pragmatically, probably not. Um, and I'm not just saying that because it didn't work out. That's what I truly think. Just you know, on balance. Yeah. But yeah, once price did rotate lower, like at this point I was looking at all of the major tech stocks, because these were the stocks that were getting a big gap up today. So if anyone was gonna fade, it'd be these stocks. And so if anyone was gonna tell me or give me a clue, it would be these stocks. And so Apple was had a major relative weakness. Like Apple had a downtrend like ever since open, and it's literally one of the most valuable um, market cap companies. So if I'm trading the Nasdaq, this is really what I should look at, and it honestly was acting like a leading indicator here. Same thing with Nvidia, though Nvidia was had a little bit more strength, but two of the biggest stocks had relative weakness. So that honestly should have been a sign. Meta, the same thing. Amazon, Google actually had some pretty good relative strength. Um, Microsoft as well. Tesla was okay. Netflix is not really affected. But yeah, the two of the biggest stocks had major relative weakness, and Meta as well. Yeah. So after I saw this move right here, I was like, all right, well, it's second AM macro. If it's gonna move, it's gonna move now. Um, and honestly, I was expecting like a greater pullback. But I was like, you know what? There is a chance that it does have a breakaway gap. Um, that'd be like one of the best ways to start a trending move lower. And that's kind of what happened. There was like a retracement right here at the 10 a.m. candle. And honestly, that like looking back at it now, it'd be a pretty good entry. The only reason why I didn't enter is because I let my previous trades affect me, if I'm being honest with myself. I took too many losers back here that honestly, like, I was waiting for more confirmation. And the market, is really good at like making you do this where you don't take the best entries when you're given it. even though you see it right in front of your face. Um, yeah. And so how can I fix this? Well, first of all, I try not to let my previous trade affect my current trade, but I think the core thing is to not take bad losers, to take shitty trades. So I'd have more confidence in my trades. But yeah, I just rode this move lower. If you put on the nine, um, yeah, I just rode this move lower on the nine. So I took scalps here because honestly, I was in a loss in a drawdown, and I was feeling pretty timid today. And also, I knew that along this way down, where there's a lot of these untested lows, um, like I felt like there'd be a lot of gyrations up and down. So whenever there was a flush down, I took some profits, and then I shorted again at the nine, took some profits, shorted again, and yeah, yeah. So that was my entire trade. Once I got to this point, I broke even. I locked myself out. Yeah, just wanted to reflect on the day. Um, Not really push. Just like I said I wouldn't do these mistakes, but I ended up doing them exactly how I said I would. And so I really need to make this video today, reflecting, being honest with myself. And yeah, and this thing actually happens pretty often with me. Um, if you look at, well, I think I was trading pretty properly. Um, until I was just focusing on getting a payout, right? Um, Recently I've just been trying to aim for these small, just like these easy wins, quote unquote, but they're not easy. Like no trade is easy in the long run. If you take shitty trades over and over again, you're not going to be profitable. And so I really need to fix this habit where I need to come in the day with a specific plan, and if I don't get that trade, I'm not gonna take the trade. I have to execute on my plan because honestly, there was like I would say this trade would be acceptable, and this would be the best trade of the day. Two trades max. That's all I should have taken today. But as you can see here, I took 13 trades, which was the most out of all of my other trading days. And so the my P&L graph has been pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie. If you look at it, like it's been down, and then like I just barely scraped myself out of profits. Like I'm taking shitty trades. It always starts off with a loss, and then I just had to claw myself back up. And I don't need to be doing this. I just need to be taking like these one or two good setups a day. Like right now, opportunity is honestly abundant. So I should just slow it down, just really hone in on the strategy. Um, Same thing here. Like starts off with a loss, right? Well, the good thing is like all these losses are like my regular 35 point loss, and then like a few good losers really make it back up. I mean, a few good winners really make it up. Um, well, this is fine. Um, kind of the same thing here. Let's see. And this day was pretty shit. You're like same thing. Like these losers here, five losers in a row, man. Come on. And then like big winners to help me, claw myself back. But yeah, um, like look at this day. It just starts off not even like this is like a typical blow up day for me. Like just losses upon losses upon losses. I mean, these losses, are controlled, but that doesn't make it any better. Like I don't need to be taking all of these losses in a row. If the trade isn't there, it's not going to be there within one or two trades. I don't need nine trades to tell me that. Yeah. Um, let's see. But yeah, like on the days where I'm like calling myself back, this is like honestly how the P&L graph looks like every single time. And I don't want to be doing this every single time. Like look at my max drawdown was, close to $4,000, which is terrible. Um, I don't need to be doing this. Really. I just need to take a few good trades a day. That's it. Just one. one or two trades. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Um, I don't know why I'm doing this. Well, I do know why. I'm just trying to take the easy trade, trying to minimize my pain. If I'm being honest with myself, trying to take these easy winners first and just go about my day. But honestly, there's nothing easy about trading. Um, yeah, well, that's enough rambling. Let's just get into this shit show of a trade. Yeah, look look at this. This honestly looks dizzying. Um, yeah, man. I don't like how this looks because it's honestly like a mess to analyze. So first trade, I tried to take a long. Basically, my idea was I don't think the short is here. I think you should fade all good short opportunities. So like how the price moved strongly into the 21, um, usually you would expect it to reverse. However, um, I'm fading these short opportunities because I think that price had a strong displacement lower, and I think it should go back to a premium and the 15-minute breaker block. So I was trying to take these longs, but took it too prematurely. And then this is the big problem here. Um, I took the short right after I took the long. Took the lots on the long, and the reason was because I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe the shorts will work. And so that's the big problem with having a clashing short-term and long-term bias. Like my short-term bias was higher, but the long-term bias was lower. Um, and so whenever that's the case, just let price play out. Just wait until your internal draw matches your external draw. Your long-term bias matches your short-term bias. That's when you have the most conviction. That's when the trades have proven themselves the most to you, and that's the only time you need to be taking a trade. Um, I shouldn't be taking the long or the short here because it just like there's no conviction and I'm so prone to flip-flopping is what I like to call it. Yeah, so I took a loss on the long, took a loss on the short. Um, and then right here, uh, where is it at? Long, short, short. Yeah. So right here, I took the long. And so the idea was, all right, I'm fading these shorts and I want to see price get back up to this breaker block. Um, and that is what happened. However, like I didn't take profits here, and like the psychological reason why is because I didn't make back these losers yet, and so that's why I was trying to just hold for as long as I can until I'm plus 200 again. But that's stupid. Like I need to be taking wins, especially like you know, if these short-term wins that like the nature of the trade is short term. So I need to take the profits when it gets to my level. And also I'm in a drawdown. I really shouldn't be trying to push these trades. I need to be trying to recoup my capital. Um and yeah, so that like it's so prone to happen when you're in a drawdown and that's how blow up days happen, right? Um if I keep on doing this, if I keep on doing this, you know, these days where I'm like clawing myself back up, like here and here and here, they're gonna become days like this, where it just keeps on going lower and lower. Um, that's honestly, if I'm not careful, I'm gonna be punished. And so today's the day to refocus, reframe myself, and get ready for tomorrow. Take a good trade tomorrow. Yeah, because honestly, I think the opportunity is there. I see it. And so all I need to do is lock in and execute. Yeah, well, come on. Can I still use this chart? Oh, that's interesting. Are you serious? What the heck? Well, if top step X wants to load, there you go. Right. All right, let's get back to it. So I ended up taking the loss here, and then I got back on the short immediately. This was honestly pretty stupid, but that's like the big issue with having a clashing, short-term and long-term bias. Because once I saw the price reverse here, I was like, okay, maybe price wants to go lower from here. It already hit the 61.8, the the 70.7, um, reversed, created a BPR. I was like, all right, like I don't see why it can't continue lower. Um, like yeah. Um, but then I didn't even last until the pullback. I got stopped out right here, which is pretty stupid. So I wouldn't have been able to catch a trade if there was one lower. But yeah, I don't really. If I took a trade, let's say if my trade location was here and I had to stop, like, nah. What am I doing? What am I saying? I did take the trade here, but I got stopped out way before that. But yeah, I took the trade again, but my trade location was actually around here. It wasn't up here. Um, putting your stop here, like that would have been, I guess, the only reasonable trade that I would allow myself to take. Just this move right here, targeting like these internal lows, for like a partial, then maybe like a retracement higher before moving lower. Um, yeah, but like this is a major lesson for me. Like if I'm gonna trade short term, I'm gonna trade short term. If I'm gonna trade long term, I'm gonna trade long term. Um, Having clashing biases is so hard to trade because you need to have perfect execution. Like for example, let's say like if I ignore every single trade that it took, right? And I only look at, okay, so right now I think we have a sell side bias, but we're on the buy side of the curve. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna fade the good short opportunities. So right here, the continuation from the 21, fade for a long. Same thing here. This short right here, fade. Right here. Retracement back into 21, continuation lower, fade higher, right? Um, Looking at it on balance, like this would have been like, I would say there's EV in this, but you need to have perfect execution. And so, like, I don't call myself a pro, so honestly, I should make things easier for myself. I shouldn't make it so that I need to have perfect execution to make money. And so the easiest way to do it is just wait for these setups right here when both the short term and the long term bias align. And that's when I can take the most high conviction trades and really hold them and not really flip flop. And then I would have clean trading days. Um, yeah. So right here, I took the short again. I got stopped out. And then right here, as soon as I got stopped out, I was like, man, I still think it can go lower, especially from here. So I took the short again. Then I got stopped out again. Well, actually, I stopped myself out because this is when I realized, you know, we're out of macro. Um, Price really doesn't have any reason to distribute lower as of right now. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop myself out, and then I'm gonna fade. I'm gonna fade these shorting opportunities, even though they look good. I'm gonna fade them. So I faded it, and then around here I was up around 60 points, and I added two. I added two, so I tripled my position size, which felt terrible. It felt like shit, honestly, because this was at the 9, not even at the 21. It felt like shit because I'm so prone to any pullback. I'm so prone to any pullback, and I was also in like several $1,000s of drawdown here. So I don't know why I'm tripling my trading size. Honestly, this huge blunder, so many mistakes today, um, and there is a root cause to it. Um, It's just trying to make my money back, knowing that my short-term and long-term bias are clashing. And today could have been a really big blow-up day. I'm not gonna lie. especially with this right here. This could have sealed the deal. But yeah, luckily, I took two off here, reduced my position size, um, became a little bit more modest. So I was able to stomach this drawdown right here. Almost got stopped out because my stop was here. But after it reversed, I was like, all right, this is prone to, making another leg higher. So I added one more here. Um, and then it moved higher, but then I got stopped out for break even. No, for plus like 100 here. So it was like a small. No, actually, I know I got stopped out for a small loss actually. I moved my stop, I think, below this right here. I got stopped out. Yep, I stopped out here, and yeah, once I saw this, I was like, oh man, it's really gonna do a breakaway gap on me. But I guess that's what really starts a strong move, right? Um, I don't really blame it. It gave us this entire leg up to enter, to accumulate. So this distribution, it doesn't really need to give me an entry. And so yeah, I honestly agree with that. Um, so along this move lower, I was like, man, I can't really catch an entry. So I just took a scout. Looking back on it now, it's a pretty shit trade location. It was really prone to any pullback. Um, would have been, uncomfortable. Um, but yeah. Um, and then I took profits here because like it broke this internal low. So once it retraced back to the nine, I took another short, took profits here because it broke this low, it broke these internal lows, and then came back up to 21. I took another short and then went all the way down past Asia lows where I took my profits. Yeah, so once I was on the right side of the curve, like I feel like all my trades were pretty clean. Like no, I don't really have any issues with my trade except for this one. But like that just goes to show like when you're on the right side of the curve, it's really hard to make a mistake. Um, and if I don't call myself a pro, if I don't have perfect execution, if I'm not perfect, if I'm human, then I shouldn't try to box myself to where I have to have perfect execution in order to make money. No, I should put myself in easier situations like this, where I'm on the right side of the curve, not the wrong side. And so, yeah, um, coming into tomorrow, that's going to be a major focus of mine. Um, Mapping out exactly the scenarios, the theses that I have, executing on those theses, and not taking stupid trades. I don't want to see myself digging out of a drawdown. I mean, if I do take a first loser, I want it to be a good one. If I end the day red, I want it to be good, right? I don't want to have this type of day again. Um, yeah, that's gonna be my rant. Thank you. Yep.